Time for the only radio show of its kind. Auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, veterans of vintage. It's the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer. For the next hour, enjoy great information about buying and selling antiques and collectibles, and some interesting stories. Now, the Donley Auctions Hour.
Welcome to the Donley Auctions Hour. Thank you for joining us. We are here every single Saturday at 1 o'clock. Hi, I'm Susan. I'm here with Randy Donley. We are the owners of Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois, just 60 miles west of Chicago. And we're here today with some interesting stories, aren't we, Randy?
Always stories, yes.
I know. First of all, I want to touch base a little bit on the big auction we just held last weekend in February 17th and 18th. We held our firearms, ammunition, and military auction. Just want to give everybody a little bit of a highlight of how the sales were going, because I think it's interesting to know the value of items, because that's what we're looking for, more firearms.
Right. Always, a highlight of our auction, probably a full third of our business now, is guns and military relics.
So we are looking to consign more of these types of items in our next gun and military auction in May. So, for example, let me just give you some highlights that we had on Saturday. The Steyr FN FAL rifle sold for $3,250, $3,250. That, I understand, is a good price for that rifle.
That's what I'm told, yeah.
Good prices, right? And then the 1912 Colt U.S. Army 1911 45 pistol also sold for $3,250. Those are just the hammer prices. That does not include the buyer's premium.
You know, Susan, I love when we sell 1911.
Why does it say 1911 and then in quotes 1912?
Well, first and foremost, the model was produced in 1911 originally.
Okay.
It's an automatic pistol. And they were used in both World War I and World War II. So a 1912 is actually a World War I model. So that's very important that it's a World War I versus a World War II. But these pistols just kill me because they all say property of U.S. government. And they were property of U.S. government. But after the war, guys kept their guns and didn't turn them in and so on and so forth. And people are always worried. I mean, especially women who sometimes inherit guns from family members and everything. They'll say, oh, my God, can we sell this? It says property of U.S. government. Mm-hmm. And they very often think they're doing something illegal, holding this gun that says property of U.S. government.
That's right.
I think it's about the only weapon that does that has that description.
I don't know that. Yeah, probably. But we are looking for more antique and modern firearms, not just the antique ones, for our May auction. So it's never too soon to consign now for May. Give us a call at 815-923-7000 or email us at consign@donleyauctions.com. Now, that was just on Saturday. All that ammo sold. We sold so much ammunition on Saturday.
Yeah, we sold
ammo sells well.
literally a ton of ammo.
Everybody's stocking up for some reason. Yeah. I wonder why.
It was going out by the dollies and hand trucks.
Yeah,
and wow.
Pallets for
People
sure.
Stocking up is right.
So on Sunday was our military portion of the auction, and there were some interesting items that sold well there. But was there anything you wanted to mention?
No, we're always looking for more. Yeah, I mean, there were some great items sold. I mean, that Japanese diplomatic uniform from World War II is an interesting piece. I mean, great helmets and so on and so forth. But some of the interesting things that came in this week right after
the auction, right?
The auction, so that we can get ready for our next one, which is in May, correct?
That's right.
I keep telling everybody we're looking for stuff with provenance and that. Well, the stuff just keeps rolling in, and complete groupings with photos and IDs and pictures and everything we want. I'm so happy that you listen to us and understand now that the provenance is so important to get better prices, because we keep getting more, and May is going to be a good auction again.
Very highly collectible, the groupings like that. And you know what I love about getting those groupings is that we treat it with so much respect to the families and everything. I know it's probably hard for them to depart with sometimes, but we do treat it as if they were our own items.
Just yesterday there was a gentleman there who brought in his father's books and everything. He was a pilot in World War II, and he brought in all this really great literature and books and all this. And I said, again, do you have a photo of him? Do you have this? Do you have that? And he said, oh, yeah. So now, instead of just selling books, we're going to be selling, again, a whole grouping. So we have to remind people all the time that, we're not just selling items, we're selling history.
That's right. We're chasing history.
Chasing history. Yeah, I love that term.
I know. We're going to use that. Yeah. So one of the items I thought was interesting that sold on Sunday was the World War I German Navy U-boat gun sight. You remember that piece? It sold for $500. Still a good price for something like that. It was.
I mean, because it's still a fragment. It's right. a piece. But again, where do you find something off of a German U-boat?
Yeah.
When I was a kid collecting and my dad had his gas station in Berwyn, we met several Navy veterans from World War II that actually helped tow the submarine, the U-505, through Lake Michigan to get to the museum in Chicago, and where it's still at today. You can still see it today, and Museum of Science and Industry. And so, at any rate, I, as a kid, bought a pair of binoculars and some other things, actually from the U-505 that GIs told me anyway. They were told they could have anything they wanted off the ship. And so,
how old were you when you bought those?
Oh, and a teenager, probably 14, 15. Yeah.
That's great.
Sure. So
good history stuff. And then the other item, too, that I thought was interesting that sold was the British 42nd Highlanders tunic. That one sold for $650.
Wow.
So, yeah, good price for something like that. Again, a piece of history, and you're going to find it at Donley Auctions. So if you do have something like that, give us a call at 815-923-7000.
And I'm always looking for U.S. World War II paratrooper groupings. Mm-hmm. Boy, if you've got anything in a paratrooper helmet, a jump jacket, or any of these items. Also, flight jackets.
Don't forget the big stuff. The tanks and the Jeeps and the cannons. Oh, my gosh, Randy Donley.
Yes,
the bigger, the better.
But always flight jackets that are hand-painted with insignia on the back or airplanes. And very often, here's what kills me, is pilots during World War II were allowed to get away with, and flight crews get away with painting their jackets with such things, even like naked ladies on the back of them.
It was the
only group of guys that got away with that. But their life expectancy was so short that the commanding officers did nothing to try to rein that in, and say, hey, you guys can't be doing that. It was just unbelievable how many guys were lost in combat.
I know. Interesting stories, as always. But today we're going to be talking about upcoming auctions, too, because, again, folks, this is the year, 2024. It's time to downsize, minimize, clean out your garages and attics, basements. Give us a call at 815-923-7000. So, for example, coming up in March, we're going to be having a train and toy auction. And I'm telling you, those items are still highly collectible. And we're going to have Ryan Boyle. I think we're going to have him on the next segment. Yes. We're out of time for this one. But Ryan is our resident expert on toys, trains, sports memorabilia, coins. This guy is extremely knowledgeable. So we're going to be talking to Ryan about toys and trains. However, I always like to have a trivia question, so I'm going to get on to that right away.
Okay.
The trivia question is, because some of the toys I want to talk about are fire trucks. So the topic of the question today is about fire and fire trucks. What is the name of the movie where they used a fire truck to burn books?
A fire truck to burn books?
They use a fire truck and the fire engine, and they burned books.
Wow.
It is a classic movie. That is the question of the day. I could say it came out in 1966, if that helps at all.
Okay.
But again, around the theme of fire trucks. It is a very good scene. The very first scene in the movie was a fire truck, and if you know the name of it, that could be part 2, bonus question. So don't go anywhere, folks. We're going to be talking about upcoming auctions. Now's the time to consign. Email us at consign@donleyauctions.com. We'll have Ryan talking about some valuable toys.
He's always an interesting guest, yeah.
Isn't he?
And I want to let everybody know, too, that Donley Auctions is set up out in Louisville today.
Oh, yeah.
For the big show of shows.
They say it's like the Super Bowl of militaria.
It really is. It's absolutely incredible. And but we're there promoting what we have to sell. So if you've consigned items, we're doing our job to help get you the biggest price for your items.
A lot of people at the shows are already asking questions about the ordnance collection. So we're going to be talking about that, too, in an upcoming segment. So don't go anywhere, folks. We have a lot of interesting stories coming up. You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour right here every Saturday on AM 560, The Answer.
They've been called auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, even veterans of vintage. And they can introduce themselves. Thanks for listening. This is the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back to the Donley Auctions Hour. I'm Susan. I'm co-owner of Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois, here with Randy Donley. And our special guest today is Ryan Boyle. He is one of our wonderful staff members who walks in every day with a smile and a skip in his step and such a positive attitude. Ryan, welcome to the show. I just have so many nice things to say about you. This guy knows toys, trains, coins, sports memorabilia. Have I missed anything, Ryan?
Nothing about life in general, only antiques.
And he's a great dad.
Oh, Ryan. Well, thank you for being on today, Ryan. You know, obviously, we've been talking about this toy auction now.
I'm excited about this one.
Well over the past month, but it's coming up. Boy, March 23rd and 24th.
2 days.
You know, Ryan, I was just looking through the cabinets the other day, and I saw such a wide variety of toys. I mean, going from cast iron to tin toys, mechanicals. I mean, and then even the modern stuff that we have, which is so hot today with, racing memorabilia, Star Wars, you name it, dolls, trains, everything. But you've got it all.
Well, yesterday, Ryan was standing at the counter with a customer, and I said, hey, Ryan, show me on this flyer some collectible items that we can talk about on the radio show. And he goes, this one right here. And you know what I'm talking about. It is a 36-inch Smith Miller SMFD number 3 Mack fire truck. Tell us about this beauty, Ryan.
It's hard to come by in this condition. It's absolutely beautiful.
Beautiful.
It's got vibrant red paint, bright chrome, clean, crisp graphics, everything that any collector would be looking for. It'd be a perfect addition to anyone's collection.
That's right, and it works, right? It has it's a hook and ladder truck, so everything works on it. The little turning thing and all that.
The turning thing,
the
wow.
turning thing right there, the
There's
crank.
some technical advice, folks. The turning thing.
Hey, now. But I want to just give a little information on the Smith Miller Company, like a history. I love reading about companies that started way back in 1945 is when these guys started in Santa Monica. And here's the part that I love. Bob Smith and Matt Miller were neighbors after World War II, and they founded the Smith Miller Toy Company. So Matt Miller contacted a die casting company to ask them if they could manufacture toy trucks after the war because, you know, they couldn't use the metal and everything. They wanted to – this is now the time that they could
Sure.
do something else, die cast them. One of the first trucks that they manufactured was a Smith Miller fire truck. That was one of the first ones, whose initial manufacturing cost was $60,000 in 1949. Imagine that.
Wow.
So we do have this beautiful red hook and ladder fire truck up for auction on Sunday, March 24th. Right, Ryan?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So the other item you pointed to on the list here was the Japanese brass HO scale train sets. And you told me that we have about 10 sets of these brass train sets. Tell us more.
We have, we have had quite the run of collections of trains come through the last month, and in that I'd say probably about 10 locomotive brass engines from Oriental to Overland to Sunset models. Very hard to come by, and it's very collectible items that are pretty hot right now.
Well, I know one of the things you were looking at, we were talking about this morning, was a little bit of the history of the brass trains during the war. Tell us what you found out about that. I love the history on it.
Yeah, no, it's super cool. It's basically the first brass train models were thought about or came about from the Allied forces occupation of Japan. So basically, the Allied forces supplied photos of steam engines and such from the U.S. and had their artisans make them. And that's kind of how it started over there. And they're really beautiful. They're very detailed. And again, very, very collectible.
Excellent. Ryan, one thing I never really learned about until I did my research is the difference between HO scale and O scale. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about that?
Well, HO is probably, I'd estimate, half the size of Lionel. And so it makes it, in many areas, it's easier to have a lot more of them. Whereas the O scale would be, they're larger, so it's going to be a larger imprint, physical imprint that you'd have. However, it's argued that you'd have more of a realistic feel to it because it's larger. And most of the older ones were made of pressed steel, so it just gives it that mystique of, they don't make it like that anymore.
Right. Oh, good information. I'm glad you explained that well. So the train auction is on Saturday, March 23rd. How many trains do we have in that auction? Quite a few, I understand.
Yeah, I don't know the exact count. I know that I've gone through, I think we had something like 70 boxes that I've gone through.
Oh, my gosh.
In the last 3 weeks.
It's my understanding, Ryan, we've got over 1,000 toys in this March auction, or 1,000 lots. So there's even more toys than that.
Yeah, we It's gonna be a fun one.
It'll be close to that, and yeah, it's. We've had them. I had one collection coming from Detroit. Another couple came in from local, the northwest suburbs. So we've had them all coming through, which is a great thing.
Are we still taking consignments for that auction, guys?
Well, regardless of whether we take for this auction or not, we're always building the next one. And
right.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's something to always remember, is that when you hear us talking about auction, and we're saying, well, the auction is this week, that week, you're never too late for the next auction, because we repeat our themes of auctions several times throughout the year. So we will have more toy auctions.
Yeah.
We will, just like we have so many gun and military auctions. We do cars and motorcycles, of course, in April with Petroliana and
so if you
architecture.
Right. So if you do have any toys and trains in those categories, I'm even looking at some of these spaceship toys. I remember those selling really well last few times, too. And I think the key to that, Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, is that they need to be in the original box. And, of course, condition is everything.
Precisely. That reflects, that basically determines the value. If it's in mint, pristine condition, literally the moon is the top point.
No pun intended. The Moon Scout, yeah.
And speaking of the moon, let's talk about Star Wars. We have just been contacted with a person who, it's my understanding, has like 17,000 items of Star Wars memorabilia, all brand new in the blister packs and everything. So, Star Wars is certainly
it's highly collectible for us Gen Xers, for sure. And you know what? My girls, I have 2 daughters, have never seen it. I got to force them at some point to see Star Wars.
Okay.
Just like you've never seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Got to do it.
Okay, it's just something I missed.
I know. Yeah. Ryan, we have just a minute left. Do you have anything else you want to mention about the toy and train auction in March?
No, we have a large gamut from a lot of trains, a lot of antique toys. I have a lot of NASCAR, Winner's Circle, 164 die-cast cars. I even have a nice collection of antique Cracker Jack toys that will be in there.
Cracker Jack toys.
What?
Now there's a topic.
Oh, my gosh. I'm going to have to, definitely look that up for a future show.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. And
okay.
I understand we even have a collection of marbles, which we've talked about in the past. We had great success with marbles. That's
great. So many interesting things coming up at Donley Auctions. Ryan, thank you so much for your time today. And Ryan is also working on the vintage electronics in Lake Geneva. And that auction we're planning for April. So we'll tell you more about
it. That's a big stereo collection.
I can't wait for that one. I'll be buying something at that one.
You name it.
Thank you, Ryan. Get back to work.
Thank you, guys.
All right, coming up next, I think we're going to have Mike Donley on the line. He's at the Show of Shows in Kentucky. We're going to try to get a hold of him and see what's going on out there. We're also going to be talking about, my trivia question. Don't forget. Somebody already guessed it, right? Which movie released in 1966 where they destroyed books? Don't go anywhere, folks. I'll tell you later.
You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560. The Answer.
Welcome back to the Donley Auctions Hour. I'm Susan here with Randy Donley. We're owners of Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois. And today we have Mike Donley joining us. He is joining us live from the Show of Shows. It's the Super Bowl of Militaria Collectors in Louisville, Kentucky. Hi, Mike. How's the show going?
Hey, Mike.
Oh, my God. It is unbelievable here. You'd have to see it to believe it. I mean, as far as the eye can see in any direction, it's just military setups here. I don't know what they have, 2,000 or 3,000 booths here. It's just amazing. I mean, the dealers coming from all over the world for this. This is probably the largest show or best attended in the world. And it's just anything you wanted to find here. I mean, there's things here from famous generals. I can't even explain the stuff here. Going all the way back from the early wars, Revolutionary War, before Revolutionary War, some of the European wars, all the way on up to the current wars going on. Uniforms, helmets, guns, badges, medals, anything you want here.
You know what, Mike? People have said to me in the past, why do you guys do so many shows? You're not out there buying and everything. And, I try to explain to people that's how we get the prices that we get. We get great prices for items because we are out there promoting these auctions. These auctions don't get customers coming to them just by osmosis. I mean, people know us because we get out there. We show off the collections. I know you're set up there right now. Actually, with the Geibel collection, we've got a big ordnance collection that we're going to be selling in March 16th. So you're out there right now promoting this collection. So all these international buyers who are at this show right now can see what we're going to be selling in March.
That's right. Mike has a big display of all this ordnance, too. I know you're getting all that ready to roll. And I understand you have a big atomic bomb with you. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, this was from the Davy Crockett weapon systems, which was deployed to the United States military after the Cold War. Actually, it was developed, I think, in 1950, and it was used to deter the Koreans from coming over the border, the North Koreans, and also along the Iron Curtain they deployed this. This bomb is the only one in private hands. It is a drill dummy that they use for practice and such, so it does not have any, nuclear material in it, of course. It was used just for practice and such, but it is exactly what would have been fired. And it is the only one in private hands. The only other 9 examples of this are in military museums, so it's pretty exciting. This collection has already started a lot of buzz at the show here.
Wow.
Well, the Geibel collection, I'm glad you mentioned that it's inert or, inactive and everything, because this Geibel, Jim Geibel, was actually an ATF agent, and everything in his collection is 100% safe and DWAT and inactive and so on and so forth. So
it's been X-rayed too.
All these items are 100% legal and safe to own.
Woo.
Wow, what's going on there, Mike?
No, they're making announcements right now. No, they're just making announcements.
Well, real quick, I understand that that atomic bomb was designed to take out actual enemy tanks, but I'm just curious, why do they call it the Davy Crockett? What does Davy Crockett have to do with it? Do you guys know?
That I don't know. I didn't read the history of it that much, but that's what it was called, the Davy Crockett weapon system for infantry and army units. And you're correct, Susan. They were made so deployed along mountain passes and such, just in case there was an invasion, they were going to fire these. They were low yield. They didn't, take out whole cities. They were just to clog up a pass so that nobody else could get through.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
And that's on display at the Donley Auctions booth at the Show of Shows in Louisville. In addition to guided missiles, there's hand grenades, there's tear gas canisters, all kinds of great stuff out there.
Yep.
Jim Geigel actually... He, as Randy mentioned, he worked for alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, but his collection is probably one of the finest in the country, and he taught a lot of classes, so there's a lot of teaching aids here and such cutaway versions and such were used for instruction and stuff that you will never see anywhere. There's none around.
And, I like to point this out because, sometimes it's nice to pat ourselves on the back. I mean, the Geigel collection, as you said, is one of the finest anywhere in the world. And the family chose Donley Auctions to be the group that would disperse this collection and sell it, and hopefully, obviously, for the highest prices, but get it also into the right hands across the nation. All these collectors that know us will be bidding and buying, and we'll be selling that in March
All right,
16th.
Mike, we'll let you get back to the show, but I want to let everybody know that the Geigel Ordnance Collection is online now. If you go to DonleyAuctions.com, click on the red button, you'll be able to see over 900 items that are currently listed online and ready for you to bid on. If you want to bid through the bidding platform, please do so. You can place absentee bids up until March 16th, and the auction goes live. You can be here in person. We'll have a preview on Friday night. Doors open at 8 a.m. on Saturday. Anything else, Mike? Enjoy the show, and we'll talk to you when you get back.
Thanks. We'll see you soon.
Oh, I had a quick question. Is anybody in costume? Anybody dressed up? Not yet?
A few. Yeah, there's a few, military reenactors here. But it's like the Tower of Babel here. There's so many languages being spoken. I think English is the least thing spoken. There's, a lot of Germans, Russians, Polish, from Chinese, from Japanese, from all over the world.
Wonderful. Well, go have a great time, Mike. We'll talk to you soon. Join us after the break. I will give you the answer to the trivia question coming up. You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour right here on AM 560, The Answer.
And now, more of the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer.
We are back with the Donley Auctions Hour. Thank you for sticking with us during that break. I'm Susan, co-owner of Donley Auctions, here with Randy Donley. Hi, Randy.
Hey,
we
Susan.
are just letting folks know that it's never too soon or too late to consign items to any of our upcoming auctions. We list off a lot of dates, right? So if you want to not have to remember those, go to our website at DonleyAuctions.com. That's DONLEY, and we will have the calendar listed there for you.
And remember, we're saying to everybody, make 2024 your year to get lean and mean. If you've got items that you would like to
and mentally,
would like to move down the line. I mean, especially big collections. So often, sadly, death is one of the reasons that people start to sell off collections, is because somebody in the family dies, and collections just have to be liquidated. It's what we do, so we can help you in your time like this, and make it fit in your wallet is our expression. Also,
really, the first thing you have to do is either call us if you're a phone person. A lot of people like to leave emails, but you can call us at 815-923-7000 or email us at consign@DonleyAuctions.com. All we need to know is who you are, where you are, and what you have. Send us a few photos, and then we'll put you in touch with the right person. We'll keep it simple.
Some of the fun collections we've been looking at include cars and motorcycles.
We love cars.
Yeah, and we're looking at a Model A collection right now and a large parts selection. We may be doing that as a live auction. So
stay tuned.
Keep listening for that because a large parts selection for Model A's, Model T's. We'll, again, probably be doing that live. Just like Lake Geneva. We're going to be doing Lake Geneva live.
The Vintage Electronics Auction, turntable, speakers, amps, live in Lake Geneva.
What nice. And that'll be no reserve, no minimum, and live and online.
It's
so
interesting how popular the vintage electronics are with albums and everything today. They're expensive. I remember spending $1 on records. Now they're, $15 to $20 each. So it's coming back. History repeats itself. So I want to, I love cars, right? But we do have this beauty coming up in our April auction, which is our annual Spring Classic. It's 3 or 4 days. We have so many. It's like the best of the best. So many great items. And one of my favorite items is the 1921 Cadillac.
What a big beast that is.
I saw a couple of Thompson guns sitting in the back seat of that. Why is that, Randy?
Well,
what are you guys doing?
The 21 Cadillac really is a gangster era vehicle.
I've seen that in movies, I'm sure.
Yeah, without a doubt. People don't necessarily, they call it the Roaring 20s, didn't they?
Yeah.
Roaring 20s, and here it is,
you're saying
21
I can wear
Cadillac.
my flapper outfit for the auction.
But so, yes, there's some Thompson machine guns in the back seat of this car. And
just for display
they'll be
purposes.
for sale at the same time, and all kinds of goodies. I mean, look at we talked about this last week. I think the Peerless steam engine that came in. Big monster.
How much does that weigh?
Steam power engine.
20,000 pounds.
It's my understanding.
20,000 pounds. So we'll load it up in the back of your truck.
Don't come to pick it up with a pickup truck. That's
but the Spring Classic is 3 or 4 days, and one of the categories is Petroliana. There's a gas pump in here, this mobile gas, special gas pump that will be in there along with some signs.
Well, and multiple gas pumps. I think we've probably got 5-6 gas pumps right now, but that doesn't mean we're not looking for more.
That's right.
Always
looking.
We could have, hopefully as many as 50 gas pumps in any given auction. So if you have gas pumps out there or globes that go on top of it, porcelain signs, oh my goodness, they bring such huge money today. And
this show in particular is scheduled around the big coin-op show, the Chicagoland show in Grays Lake every year. So people from all over the country flying in for that event come to our auction on Friday night for the best of the best.
It is. It's we're the 9th time event for the slot show. Mm-hmm. And folks, the slot show has moved, by the way. Susan said Grays Lake. It's moved from Pheasant Run. It used to be for years and years at St. Charles Pheasant Run. It's the same show now. It's at the Grays Lake Lake County Fairgrounds. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, and we'll be set up there with a booth as well. But I also saw you guys bringing in, 10, 15 slot machines the other day. So all of that will be coming up as well in the April Spring Classic.
Absolutely. So if you've got slot machines, jukeboxes, pinball machines, we're still looking for more.
That's right. I saw those. They looked like they were so clean and very nicely,
these machines,
displayed.
Susan, are actually the best possible examples he could find. These aren't restored pieces. These are
the real deal.
Mint original pieces, which is stunning. Yeah, absolutely.
Great. What else are we looking for the April Spring Classic?
Well, we're always
I thought you just said a hockey game is coming in.
Oh,
I heard you talk about that.
Yeah, that's coming in tomorrow, as a matter of fact.
Okay, good.
But, antique hockey game, and it's a real classic.
1930s.
But I'm always looking for architecture. We want leaded glass. We want, again, bars, back bars, you name it, we're looking for it. Big chandeliers, Susan.
Well, speaking of big and heavy, we have an E. Howard & Company tower clock that is also going to be in the Spring Classic. So when you're talking about architecture, that's part of those big tower clocks. And, of course, we're talking about the big ones like the Wrigley Building tower clock mechanism that's inside that makes this clockwork, right?
That's
so
it.
great stuff coming up in our April Spring Classic. Check our website at DonleyAuctions.com. Email us at consign@DonleyAuctions.com or give us a call at 815-923-7000. I promise I will give you the answer to the trivia question in our next segment. And thank you for listening to the Donley Auctions Hour right here every Saturday on AM 560, The Answer.
The Donley Auctions Hour continues now on AM 560, The Answer.
We are back with the Donley Auctions Hour. I'm going to start off real quick with giving the answer to the trivia question. And the question is, what movie that was released in 1966 focused around firemen and fire trucks, and they were actually charged with putting out fires instead of starting them? What was the name of the movie? Any guesses, Randy?
No, I can't imagine.
I think we had to read this book in high school. The book is Fahrenheit 451. The movie was released in 1966. It's based on the Ray Bradbury classic. And the reason they named it Fahrenheit 451, Keith, you know, that's because that's the temperature that the books would burn at.
Yeah,
there you go.
I remember reading that at some point.
Yes.
I think that's in the book somewhere.
Yeah, good. That's the answer to the question today. But real quick, folks, we did have some sad news we wanted to share, and I didn't want to do it at the beginning of the show because we always want to keep everything uplifting and happy. But we did have a death in the family that is going to be tough for us to talk about. But again, the reason why Shauna was not on our show today,
it's her mother, Chris Donley, passed suddenly on Sunday. Absolute shock to all of us.
I know.
She's just an incredible person. Was not sick and passed on Sunday. And those of you who know Chris, of course, by Chris Donley, she was originally Chris Pecca from Lyons, Illinois. So if you're a class of 72 Morton West class member, you'll know Chris Pecca. Eventually became my wife, Chris Donley, and the mother of my children.
And my very good friend.
Yep. She's one of our best friends in life. She was just a special individual, and we'll all miss her.
Miss her terribly. But the services are Sunday?
Tomorrow
at the DeFore Funeral Home in Huntley from 1 to 4 o'clock. If you can stop by for a visitation between 1 and 4 on Sunday, we will be there. We would love to see you, especially if you knew Chris. We will miss her terribly. And the best part of the story is, Monday is the burial at St. Mary's Church is the Mass in Huntley. Sorry, I'm losing myself here. And then the burial's in Palatine. But all that information will be online. So the reason why we're a little sad today. But again, Tucker, our auction dog, had a magic effect on this woman, and he loved her more than anybody else. When she walked in the door, he would cry with excitement to see Chris Donley. So
I think most people did.
I think we did too.
Yeah, everybody enjoyed Chris. She was just
and she was also at most of our auctions and always there as a supporter and there to just meet everybody and bring that positive happiness to our facility
and life. In life in general.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. So the moral of the story today is hug your loved ones. You just never know. I mean, it was so suddenly on Sunday. She had a heart attack. And she went to the hospital not feeling good, and literally less than an hour later, she had passed away. So, again, the services...
Life is short. Enjoy it, folks.
Life is short. Don't get stressed and worried about the little things. I know. And then if we can help you with any of your loved one's items, I mean, we know what it feels like, for sure. So definitely give us a call at 815-923-7000 or email us at consign@Donley Auctions. We would love to be able to help you work through any difficult times like this. And again, Chris's services will be at the Fiore Funeral Home on Sunday from 1 to 4.
Yeah.
Any last words, Randy?
No, again, I just want to thank everybody for listening. You know, we have so many people all the time saying, gee, we're regulars on your, listening to your show. And that's so nice to hear. We again, thank you so much. I know,
they do say that. We love your show. We'd love to meet you. So come on out sometime. For now, I'm Susan.
And I'm Randy Donley.
And we'll
see you at the auctions.
Thanks for listening to the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer. Check out all the latest information on upcoming auctions and collectibles at DonleyAuctions.com. And while you're there, you can contact someone about buying or selling your collectibles or estates. That's DonleyAuctions.com.